Hi, I'm Nick from the Real Coffee Club. Today I'm going to talk briefly about how the club works, and while I do that I'm going to make the perfect cafetiere. It's one of the questions we get asked an awful lot. How do you make the perfect cafetiere? So you need a cafetiere. This one's a 1 litre Bodum cafetiere. It's called an 8-cup cafetiere. And the first question we get asked is, how much coffee do you use? Now, for an 8-cup cafetiere, we're looking at 56 grams of coffee. Now, I'm going to weigh that out, using these scales. But if at home you haven't got scales, just use 5 or 6 heaped tablespoons of coffee. That should be there or thereabouts. But if you are a perfectionist, then use some scales. So, the next question is, what should the grind be like? Well, for cafetiere, because it's going to be in water for a long time, it needs to be quite coarse. Don't go for something really fine. Supermarket coffee tends to be a little bit fine for cafetieres, pre-ground coffee. So on here, on this machine, this Mac & Mazza, that's the #1 grind. Now, just to check it, you need to feel the coffee between your fingers, and you need to feel the individual particles. So it's quite a rough grind. So that's ground, pretty coarse. Into the cafetiere it goes. Now you need to have washed this with soapy water to get rid of the oils that build up on the outside of the cafetiere. Now we add just off the boil water. Put your kettle on, boil it, and then leave it so that the water goes still. And that should be just about perfect. So I'm going to add the water. Don't overfill, because if you overfill, you're going to get coffee squirting everywhere, and we certainly don't want that. And then we're just about ready. Place on top. Shouldn't be any need to stir. And we need to leave that for 4 minutes. Now, try it yourselves. You can brew it a bit longer, or a bit less if you really like it that way, but 4 minutes is a good place to start. Now, while that's brewing, I'm just going to talk a bit more about the club. You sign up for either 250 grams, 500 grams, or a kilo of coffee a month. That coffee is selected by club members who taste samples. We send out lots of samples to members, and they feed back via the website. And when we find something that's brilliant and really good and has a great story associated with it, we then make that our coffee of the month. So all members get a shipment. Now, if you pay £11 a month, you get 250 grams. If you pay £19 a month, you get half a kilo. And if you pay £34 a month, you get a kilo. Now, a cup of coffee a day can soon add up. You may be surprised at the amount of coffee you're getting through from the supermarket. So it's very, very simple. You go online at www.realcoffeeclub.co.uk. There's bags of information about coffee and how to brew, and you order on there. We use PayPal to process your orders, so it's nice and safe, and then your coffee shipments start. Now we plunge the coffee. Nice and carefully. You don't want to go pushing it. There should be some resistance there, but not too bad. And then we are ready to pour. Now this is a Brazil Monteverde Lot 21. It featured as our coffee of the month in January. It's a beautiful coffee. It's got notes of hazelnut, praline, cocoa, typical of Latin American coffees, but there's also some red wine in there as well. So a beautiful coffee. Join the club and you could be tasting coffee like this soon. Cheers.